friends. Thanks for stopping by, and today we're going to talk about The Raven. I got my old friend, the Clipboard of Creeps here, but before we get into the movie, I want to talk a little bit about the venue in which I saw this movie recently, and that was at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater in Lehighton, Pennsylvania. Now, we will get into The Raven, but I encourage you to please stick around because I want to talk about the Mahoning. It was an amazing experience, and I think you'll be interested in it. So you might recall that last year I did a review video of the documentary film At the Drive-In. And so this is a documentary about the Mahoning. And I won't get into its backstory too much here other than to say that it was a drive-in theater that was struggling. They weren't getting a lot of people coming in. And so what they decided to do was turn it into an all retro only classics theater. Now, if you've been on my channel for any amount of time, I think you can tell that I'm a little fond of the classics. So a drive-in theater that shows nothing but classic films, that is right up my alley. And as soon as I figured out that this existed and I learned about it and I watched the film, I knew I had to get there someday. Now, it is a good 5.5 hours away from where I live, so I wasn't able to get there this summer. Summers are a busy time for me, but I did here in October, this past October, and I gotta tell you, it was such a blast. It is a very interesting place, very unique place. I want to talk about it real quick before we get into the film. The Mahoning is special. It's just different than a lot of the other drive-ins I've been to. I have drive-ins closer to me, but like I said, they play first runs usually. Sometimes they'll throw retro night in here or there, but they mostly play the newer stuff, and that's okay. But for a just classic fan like me, the retros is where it's at. And this is a massive screen. It's very big. They say it's the largest single screen drive-in theater in the United States, and I believe it because the thing is huge. But there's just cool flair that they give to the presentation when you go there. For one thing, it was amazing weather that day. It was October 27th, and it felt like a day in the middle of July. It was like the high 70s, and we were walking around with t-shirts, and it felt like a summer night, even though it was the very tail end of October. And I know that's not something they can create for you, but just the fact that the stars aligned like that when we got there was amazing. They have this big Godzilla that's like right up against the screen, and you can walk up and take a look at it. And that right there just sets the tone. But they also do cool things like they have cosplayers that come out and walk around. One of the films we saw was the original 1933 The Invisible Man, and there were invisible men, guys dressed like that, walking around, and you could get your picture with them, and Gail did that, and it was a lot of fun. And their concession stand also has a lot of cool things. It's more than just food. They actually have memorabilia, and you can buy posters, and you can buy t-shirts. I actually bought this t-shirt. It was made custom for their Universal Monsters night, the night we were there and saw the Universal Monster films. And this is custom made specifically for that event. And I picked it up, and you can see there's the Invisible Man right there and some other characters. And it also has their logo on the back. And it just was an amazing experience, and I had a lot of fun, and there's just an atmosphere there. And the other cool thing you can do is you can camp out. They have an area in the back where you can put up tents and you can camp if you want, or you can sleep in your vehicle. So we camped out in Big Red, and it was fun. We saw 3 films. We saw The Invisible Man, as I mentioned. We also saw The Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is up there in my mind as one of the best. As you can see right there, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I love that film. And then the third feature was The Raven. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that here because we are covering that in this video. I had never seen this film before. It was completely brand new to me. And to see it up there on that massive screen in just full view, stars out. That's the other thing. It was a completely clear night. There was a full moon, and we're watching these great films. I just had a blast. So, of course, The Raven is a film that stars Bela Lugosi and also Boris Karloff. So right there, you got Bela, you got Boris together in a film. And it's a really good one. So it's kind of got shades of Edgar Allan Poe. It says in the opening credits that it was suggested by the works of Edgar Allan Poe. Now, it's not based on any particular Poe story, but it has that Poe feel throughout. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So really the plot is pretty cool. So Bela Lugosi plays this brilliant doctor, but he's kind of unhinged. He's kind of just out there, and he's obsessed with Poe and Poe's works, and he's always quoting the Raven. So again, that's kind of where we get the title from. And so what happens is there's this woman who gets in a car wreck, and she's a big shot. She's from like a big family, and her dad's like a big time judge. And they beseech Bela Lugosi to do surgery to save her life. And so he does, and he falls in love with her. But we come to find out that she's engaged to another guy. And the judge, the father of this woman, doesn't want him involved with her. He just wanted him to save her life. That's all he cared about. And so now that she's back on her feet and okay, he basically wants Bela Lugosi to go away, but Lugosi is obsessed. So he hatches this plot to kill off the fiance and the dad so he can get the girl for himself. And he recruits Boris Karloff. Now, Boris Karloff is a convict, and he goes to Bela Lugosi looking for surgery to kind of change his face up so he's not recognized out in public. And Lugosi, being the crazy guy he is, he does a surgery that messes his face all up. And he says, the only way I will fix that and get your face back to normal is if you do my bidding, and that's I'm going to invite these people over and you're going to kill them for me. Now, I'm not going to go too further into it than that because I don't want to give away too much of the plot, other to say that Lugosi is obsessed with Poe, like I said, so he has all these cool contraptions around his place. He's got a pendulum, he's got torture devices, and he's using Karloff to help him get people into these devices. He's got these secret rooms that open and close, and he's targeting this father and fiance of this woman that he's obsessed with. For 1935, think about that plot. That is pretty progressive, and I think it is a very well done film. It's short, it's not very long and drawn out. They get right to the point. The pacing is just right there. And Lugosi just chews the scenes with his acting ability in this. He's just terrifying, and I think at some of his best that I've seen from him. It is a great movie, and I can't wait to watch it again. I might have to pick a copy of it up. I didn't know going into this if this was going to be a movie I was going to like, because they put it number 3 behind some really great films like, of course, The Invisible Man and The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I've covered those movies on my channel. That's how much I love them. And so I thought, well, this might be the lesser of the 3, but whatever. I'm at the Mahoning, and I'm going to enjoy it no matter what. And I just found myself extremely pulled into the film. I thought it was great, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I really recommend, if you're looking for a creepy, interesting, just well-atmosphered, just well-acted film of this vein, check out The Raven. You won't be disappointed. All right, a little bit back to the Mahoning before I wrap up here. Like I said, we got to camp out. So like you can bring a tent or you can camp in your vehicle. And we pulled into the back, and they played a bonus 4th film. It was Abbott and Costello versus or meets, I can't remember. It's Abbott and Costello meets Dr. Jekyll. Did not know they were going to do that. It was just something they did as a bonus to everyone. And so I didn't stay up for that. It was very late at this point. So I just kind of went to sleep in Big Red. And it was kind of cool, though, because you can kind of hear in the background other people listening to it on their radios. And you can see the flicker of it through the window as it's playing. And it was like Abbott and Costello versus Dr. Jekyll just kind of lulled me to sleep. So it was a great thing. It was just a great time. So I encourage you to check out the Mahoning Drive-In Theater in Lehighton, Pennsylvania. Like I said, it was a long drive for me to get to it, but worth every mile. I will be going back. It just is a special kind of just a vibe there that I can't really put words to, but it's my kind of place. And just to have a drive-in theater playing these classics and giving you that experience, it's just not something you can get anywhere. It's a unique thing, and I encourage you to check it out. I will have a link in the notes below to their information. Check out the Mahoning Drive-In, support them, follow them on Facebook, follow what they're doing. I guarantee you, if you're a classic film fan, they will be having an event sometime in the next season that will be interesting to you. I promise you that. Okay, so that's our film and our look at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater in our video today. Thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And until next time, have a good one.